But let's talk about a sport that is ramping up faster than anyone would believe. They've got pads on. They even played an official preseason game. Football's creeping back up on us already.
It very much is. We will start to get preseason here very, 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 very soon. In fact, if there's not been, because the Hall of Fame game or Hall of Fame was, I think,
This
last
weekend.
night or this weekend. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a preseason game tonight, actually.
It is a potential. I think most teams still have till next weekend before they're suiting up. But the Detroit Lions and LA Chargers got the first official action underway for the 25-26 season.
Yep, that was our Hall of Fame game. Chargers did win that one 34-7. It does look like preseason football. We only get 3 of them now. No one cares. Really, it's for who is going to be the role players on your team, who is going to fit into if I ever get a $20 million cap for the NFL, whose names do I need to know?
Very much the bubble players trying to make a roster here.
Yeah, depending on who your coach is and what the vibes are, should see very little of the starters for the most part, especially this first week. Maybe you'll see a little bit of them the second week and probably not again in the third week, ideally.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot else to cover out of that. The one thing I did see out of that first preseason game, the Lions had a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, there's brand new people. Everyone's doing fresh here.
Yep.
And Harbaugh, we know, can coach the college players, which is probably what he had just running around out there.
Yeah, fairly right up his alley there.
Yeah. Other news in the NFL, a lot of things have been happening, good and bad. We'll start with the bad. The NFC East seems to be on fire for some reason. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, as many know, he's decided that he no longer wants to be in Washington. He needs to get paid. Washington's not paying him. They refuse to pay him. And he says, please trade me. He did report to camp after holding out all offseason finally, because he kept getting fined and whatnot, because that is a thing that does happen. Yep. He said, this is terrible. I want to go somewhere else. And Washington said nothing.
We don't have to.
Yeah, Washington hasn't said anything about what they're going to do or what their plan is, and nobody really knows. The bigger fire is, of course, in Jerry's world. Jerry tends to, for some reason, it feels like we're here every offseason now. There is a tire fire out there in Dallas. This year's is shaped around Micah Parsons, who is a huge and probably the biggest star on the Dallas Cowboys currently. Some may say CeeDee Lamb or Dak Prescott or whoever, but I don't think there's anyone bigger than Micah Parsons himself personally. Micah has said, these guys will not negotiate with my extension. I also no longer want to be here. I tried being a Cowboy. There's no more love. I need to go somewhere else. Please trade me. And Jerry said, don't worry about it. These are how these things go.
Yeah, not a great sign of organizational stability when a guy who has proclaimed publicly on several occasions that he wants to remain with your team is so soured by the off-season negotiation process that he then has to come out and say, please get me out of here.
He's not soured by the off-season negotiation process. He's soured that there is no off-season negotiation process. He did put out a long notes tweet where he tweeted pictures of, and he has said that they have tried multiple times to sort of get a contract extension for him starting last season. They said, hold on, wait, we'll let the market wait till the offseason. We kind of work some things out. Mm-hmm. The offseason came around and said, hold on, wait, let's see all these players get signed and the market will set itself and you'll get more money. And then they sent a message and they've not gotten a text, an email, a FaceTime, a letter, nothing. It's been radio silence up until our good old friend Jerry Jones over there said, don't worry about it.
This is proper business negotiation.
Yep, this is how
by the books.
This is how this always goes.
Aye.
I can't imagine him wanting to be there anymore. Micah Parsons, from all the things that I've seen about him, just even as a person, I can't imagine getting the contract. It was like gonna leave a good taste in your mouth, even if they do give you what you want. Mm-hmm. Just feels like a lot of heartache for nothing, especially if Jerry, you're gonna do it anyway. Just give the man, please.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna end up, caving and trying to keep the talent that you have, Now you're going to pay more for it probably because it's dragged on for so long, burnt all the goodwill that this man has towards your organization. It makes very little logical sense, but hey, being a billionaire poisons your brain.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in that man's head. Last year was CeeDee Lamb, who he made happy, made him the largest, highest paid receiver up until some other people signed contracts earlier this year.
But at the time,
yeah, I don't know why we keep doing this. All the Dallas fans, I would assume, are scared and horrified once again, but until Jerry gives up control of being the general manager of this team, which he will not because he is the owner of the team and he will not fire himself. He's notably said many, many times and even threatened to fire the radio show hosts if we recall from last year.
Yep.
But yeah, good news out there in Dallas. Good. The scary thing I will say here in the Denver area about potential landing spots is Vegas and Los Angeles to Chargers, both being kind of high on that list because they have the cap. Don't know if they have the things that Dallas may want, but who knows?
That is an unfortunate update that we certainly don't want him to end up with a division rival if we can't have him.
Yeah, I would have really liked him. Don't know what we would have to give up for him. I kind of know, but I'm just gonna let that do what it does. Odds if I were a betting man, I think Jerry's gonna come groveling on his knees back to Micah Parsons and try to make everything okay because unfortunately I think Jerry does know this is a business and he is a huge part of your business unless he has gone so crazy that he thinks no person on the Dallas Cowboys is bigger than the Cowboys as a whole, which is kind of true, but you also need the superstars in the NFL. It's a whole thing. Speaking of good news, though, in the Denver area, our friend Zach Allen here, defensive end, number one pass rusher, or at least pressures on the quarterback last year, gets rewarded 4 years, $100 million contract to his name as of yesterday, 69.5 of that guaranteed. So he is locked up here to be in the Denver area for the next 4 years. He is 27 currently, so that puts him here till he's about 32. So good, all good for the Broncos. If he continues to improve and maybe get some sacks off the pressures he did last year, I think that's a huge good bonus for us.
Yeah, I've been very happy with having Zach Allen follow Vance Joseph over from Arizona when we got him back over here into Denver, and I think that's a solid contract considering the way some of these contracts shake out in the offseason. That's going to be a pretty good value for 4 years.
I think so too. The next question is Nick Bonito is due a payday here soon. He has 1 more year to his name, I think, and then he has to be extended. I think we want him here. The question I would ask you is, would you rather have Nick Bonito on your roster or potentially, I don't know, Micah Parsons on your roster?
Ooh, interesting. The trend from the new regime under the Sean Payton mold here has kind of been, if you don't fit what we're trying to do here, you're probably not sticking around. So I would say this is probably a pretty pivotal kind of prove it year for Nick. I imagine if they do move on from it, it would be for someone younger rather than a free agent.
Yeah, Micah is a year older than Bonito is currently, 27 versus 26. Micah, we know, is going to be expensive. Bonito, we know, is also going to be expensive.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who is going to be expensive when. I would expect if we give up, if we wanted to go get Micah right now, he needs $24 million to his name this year, and then who knows what we're going to have to pay him the next N number of years. But Benito's only making 5 and we have 12 to our name, so we'd have to get rid of someone else as well.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't make a lot of sense on paper right now. And as much breathing room as we got this year out of the Russell Wilson contract, we're getting even more next year. So I think the spaces might be, cap's going to raise all that, but there's going to be a lot of other young guys who need paydays too. So if I were a betting man, I'd imagine Bonito does not get an extension, and we plan on getting younger at that spot.
Yeah, I would assume, I think he is top 2 pass rusher in the league now, according to all the stats last year. I think he is going to get an extension here. I don't know. I don't think we have the heart to give him up, and he's a dude that fits everything that we do now. He has kind of put his name front and center along with Pat Surtain on that defense. Very similar our 2015 defense. You have DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller on the edges, and you have Chris Harris and Aqib Talib in the back. Right now we have Zach Allen and Nick Benito, and then we have Riley Moss and Pat Surtain, both excellent things to have. Middle, we don't really want to talk about all that right now, but
kind of filling in, but
yeah, having those spots filled is great. Continuing on into our NFL news, how about that NFLPA? The news keeps getting wilder and wilder as the reporting keeps going on. The initial reporting of all this has been coming from Pablo Torre, him, and Mike Florio is with him on this one. And I don't know how they got news of this, but they've been breaking all the NFLPA stuff that's been going on. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the NFLPA board of director has decided to step down. There's been some not so savory things to his name. Lloyd Howell is the guy's name. He was the director of the NFLPA. This is not the first time he's been caught in a scandal either, oddly enough. Surprise, surprise. He was also working for Booz Allen when there was a settlement for the government. $371.45, basically $0.5 million. He was a CFO for that when Booz Allen was misusing government money.
Oh, fun.
So kind of a little bit of a track record in both spots, actually, NFLPA and in Booz Allen. He was expensing trips to the strip club as a business expense.
Interesting.
So that is something he's been known to do. The NFL did not check in on him for what reason and why. If you want to go learn a lot more about this, Pablo Torre has 3 different parts now, with a potential, probably a 4th part coming out too.
Oh boy.
All the mess in this story. The brief summary of this is the NFLPA kind of sketchily went out and tried to get a new board of directors when the old one stepped down. The 2 candidates that they kind of finagled their way in, for the most part, no one really knows what their selection process was like, or is very much a black box. And eventually they got these 2 dudes together, one who we don't really care about, and then Lloyd Howell here. And the dude who's been kind of masterminding this all, his name is going to be JC Trotter, who is a former player and been in the Washington area, around sort of where all the NFLPA stuff happens, been making his way up in the organization, actually being an NFLPA president himself, formerly. And he kind of put together this grand scheme. He kind of front ran for Lloyd Powell, and Lloyd Powell did the gracious and nice thing of creating a brand new position for him called chief strategist, which has never been a thing before in the PA. The other thing to note here is Lloyd, of course, he apparently was a dude who just collected board seats, the NFLPA being one. He's on 2 other boards, and the other thing is he also mainly resides in Florida, so he is never in the PA office ever.
Okay, fantastic. I guess you got to do something with your retirement years.
Potentially also explains why all the expenses are probably happening at a strip club
in Florida. Yeah,
because I can't imagine there's a ton of those out in New York, the DC area, but Florida, Miami, sure.
It checks out. Yeah.
Checks out for sure. But the whole thing behind this is JC Trotter has been made out like he is the victim of all this, and he basically claimed that he wished he was the monster everyone thought he was, and he did not. All the things that have come out about this are a bunch of mistruths, is what he said, and no one truly knows the story. But the dudes who Pablo Torre and Mike Florio all have kind of reached out to in the PA office, basically said, "Hey, Lloyd Howell's never here," and they're like, "Well, who's running the
who's
PA?
Actually making decisions?"
And they're like, "Oh,
keeping this thing
Trotters are doing everything." Then and they're like, "Okay, sure."
Well.
But the Trotter did go on Dan Patrick's, and this all came out because there was basically a collusion thing with the owners and the players in the NFLPA, and there's like a whole 61 61-page document about it. Both the owners colluding on how to not pay players, and players also colluding on how I got fake injuries, such as and sometimes the owners also faking injuries for players, like we've kind of heard here in Russell Wilson, the old Russell Wilson era, the darker days here.
Yep.
And everyone is like, this is all very bad. And our man here, JC Trotter, has said, I've never seen those files. These are all new to me, as if they've been leaked. I've only heard of them now that they've been leaked, which is kind of crazy. One, because as I just said, he's running the office, but also how all this shook out is he is the chief strategist, and this all came out of like a big strategy meeting that was leaked out, which means how are you?
He's definitely doing his job, but he's never seen those documents, but the documents were definitely from his office.
And they would be the primary thing of his job, like there would be the primary job of his job.
Yeah. Classic defense from entitled rich guy. I would love to find myself in the position to be able to screw up my job this badly.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on over there. Apparently he had this whole master plan, and the way this had gone and the way this all sort of broke is one, now the FBI is starting to look at this, because anytime you misuse funds, especially from even for the rich people, this would be considered the union. It's the largest union ever in the NFLPA, and eventually the MLBPA gets involved here as well, because those two have a company together. But they're mostly, I think, looking at the NFL side here right now, because the way this happened is the NFL and MLBPA came together and said, hey, in case things go bad, we want to make sure we're okay. The NFL has what they call war chest of $1.4 billion to take care of all the players, just in case anything truly does go wrong and there's a long lockout or whatever. The NFL or the MLBPA, I assume, has something similar. They said, let's come together and make a company and make this not only have this war chest, but also these things together. And we're going to have all the player likenesses in this sort of company and organization called One Player.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I think I have heard of that organization. Yeah, it is a sort of players union. Yeah, coalition, collective.
Yeah, 1TP is the abbreviation for this, and the MLB. Apparently, there's an MLB whistleblower who was like, "Hey, there's something sketchy going on here with 1TP here. Maybe you should check this out." And the MLBPA, I think he even stepped down. The director was like, don't look over here. There's nothing wrong going over here. And someone started to check it out. And the union board is, the way it happened is, now that you can include college players into this, the evaluation, which they got initially, was basically this company is worth $2 billion for everything involved here. Mm-hmm. But with college player likenesses all happening, they're like, well, now player likenesses are up to $10 billion, which is what that company would sort of initially be worked. And all the board members are like, we've been here helping and we're not getting anything from this. There's no cut from us, because it's a coalition, and both PAs have to vote on who gets what pieces of how much money for serving on the board and whatnot, and all that sort of shenanigans. Pablo Torre and Mike Florio kind of go into that a little bit more, and I assume we're going to hear a lot more about this as this comes out. But the board members actually started to get paid off. And who are these board members? Lloyd Howell, the MLBPA, JC Trotter, and a few other people started to take money out of the pockets of players who did not have a vote on this, basically stealing from the players and stealing from the organization as a whole, which is why the FBI is sort of included here.
Very interesting, yes. And very interesting to hear that, yeah, the MLBPA is caught up in that, because they are also making news these days. But before we switch over to that union issue, yeah, very strange dealings, and probably I have to imagine, if you're a player in the union now, probably pretty frustrating to be like, these are the people who are negotiating. Like, this is the organization that's supposed to be helping me not get screwed over by my contract.
Well, it's kind of crazy, right? Because in the coalition thing, JC Trotter basically turned in every one of all the players and didn't protect them at all for the owners, and saying, well, this is how we get the players right. He's been sort of the mastermind between everything that's been sort of bad in the NFL between the players and the organization as of late. I'm not going to say everything, but a lot of stuff.
I mean, yeah, when your job is to maximize the income or whatever, you don't worry about the football decisions.
Yeah, and it's been kind of a gross, nasty thing. I'm just have to stay tuned. I know Pablo Torre and Mike Florio have another piece coming here with all their insights and whatnot. But it's not.
Yeah, that's I think the craziest part is that this is just sort of still unfolding, and we've yet to really kind of grasp the full mess of it so far.
Yeah, and right now it doesn't seem like there's any like legal action that you can sort of take here. The best way they explained it is like they caught somebody with their hand in the cookie jar, but they haven't taken the cookie sort of quite yet. Like
We've caught someone with their hand where it's not supposed to be, but we can't prove that in their hand was a cookie.
Correct. That is exactly what's happening here. We can't prove that their hand was a cookie or that they didn't drop the cookie or anything like that. So to be continued, and as this sort of continues,
cookie was touched outside of proper cookie touching hours, and that's all we can say. That
is all anyone can say right now. Like I said, the FBI is now involved, and feels like this thing is going to break open a little bit more as the weeks continue to go on here. But I think that's a perfect segue into what's happening over there on the other round ball piece of our coalition.